What's up? I'm Tony. We're going to look at Waiting on the World to Change by John Mayer. This was a popular request to break this down, so I'm going to show you not only how to play this, but how I think about the song when I'm playing it and what options are available to me, what I can do with it. A lot of what you're going to see are these voicings. A lot of these voicings are found in the cage system, which if you don't know, I'm a huge advocate of. It's my favorite concept in guitar fretboard theory. What it lets you do is expand any given major chord all the way up the neck to play wherever you want. So the cage system, C, A, G, E, D, represent all major chords. And you can use those chords as voicings to string up the neck to play the same major chord. And those are some of the shapes that we'll be using here in this song. So to learn more about the cage system, check out the last video that I just posted explaining why you need to know it, what exactly it does for you. I got the link down in the description for that video. And also, I went out of my way to record a course on a step-by-step process, how to learn it, how to apply, how to implement it into your playing. And that can be found on my Patreon account, also linked down below. So let's get back to the song. The intro, the verse, and the chorus are all pretty much the same chords. The variation is how he plays it and what voicings he uses. Then there is a bridge that I'll cover that's just made up of 3 chords. The song really isn't that hard once you get used to it. It's just getting used to the voicings if you're not familiar with them already. So we can split this up into 2 parts. And the only change from part 1 and part 2 is the first chord in this progression. So let's take a look. That's the first part of this. So you got D major, B minor, G, and D. These voicings look a little different. Let's take a closer look. So here's a D chord. So think about your F or your E major, and you're just taking it all the way up to the 10th fret. You can play it as a full voicing here. I rather not. I'd play it like John. He wraps the thumb. If this is uncomfortable for you, just don't even bother doing it. Do whatever's comfortable for you. You can play this song so many different ways, it'll make your head spin. We're just going to cover a few, and then do whatever's comfortable. So I'm showing you like this. I'm putting these 3 fingers down here, kind of like the F chord, and then I'm wrapping the thumb. And I am finger picking with my right hand. Don't let the rhythm of it bog you down. You can easily strum it. You can see a lot of videos of John doing this live where he's strumming the whole time anyway, so do what you want. But I'm finger picking, I get a little percussive with it. So, D major, B minor. Thumb wraps down on the 7th fret, and then you're building the rest with your fingers down below. And again, you can do the full voicing, small voicing, G, and D. G is the same deal as the D chord up here. And then a standard D major voicing in the first position. Little hammer on. Another little hammer on if you want. Little flavor. So, and that's the whole first part of this. The second part is the exact same thing, but the first chord is an A major instead of a D major. So the first part will start on the D. Second part starts on this A. We're working with these same movable voicings. For that's the D, the G, the A. The A's on the 5th fret. All together. And that's it. The rhythm is going to be the funniest part. I really don't think these voicings are that bad unless they're totally foreign to you and you've never played these before. In that case, just take your time. Baby step it. You can play it slow. Slow it down. Big whoop. Now, if this is like way beyond your playing and you just want to be able to learn this just so you can sing over top of it, you can do this whole thing in the first position. D, B minor, G, D. A, B minor, G, D. And that's, sounds fine, who cares? Most people, like if you're trying to record a video or play this out, nobody's really going to scrutinize how you're playing it, except for other really snobby guitar players who, in my experience, are like somewhere between beginner and intermediate, and they're just over-analyzing and hating on everything anyway. We just ignore those people. We don't listen to them. Play it however you want. Ignore anybody who ever has anything negative to say about you. Screw them and just have fun with it. That's why we're here, to have fun with the instrument. Quick note about these voicings again. If they're a little weird, they're hard to memorize, hard to think about. You can't really picture playing these chords where they are. I'd really recommend looking in the Cage system. Those videos that I mentioned that I put out, they are really helpful, I gotta say, and it'll help you lay a foundation moving forward for your learning and your progression. It's kind of, I really find it essential to be able to make these easier. Learn the Cage system because it's constantly applying, and it's literally what I'm thinking about the whole time I'm playing this stuff. So let's look at the bridge, all right? It's hard to beat the system when you're standing at a distance, waiting on the world to change. So it's just those three chords. So we have a D, E minor, 7, B minor, E minor 7. And then you're going back to the verse to finish it up. That second part of the verse. So, hard to beat the system when you're standing at a distance. To the A, waiting on the world to change. Just like that. Again, you can do these chords in the first position. So, it's hard to beat the system when you're standing at a distance. E minor, B, and E minor. Pretty simple. So here's something you'll notice when you're listening to the song or watching John play it live. He changes up, he'll add a couple voicings while he's playing the chorus. Or at least this is what I've found. So in the verse, he'll just be straight up, little hammer on here and there. But to the chorus, so in the same time, he's splitting up the time of the D chord and then the A chord. So the D chord, instead of just going, he's using two different voicings of the D chord, two different ways to play it. And then the same thing with the A. So let's take a closer look at that. You can play the D chord here, 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 here. Well, we could keep going. These are things the Cage system teaches you. So go learn it. Starting with this voicing, it's your normal power chord looking D chord. It's the A shape in the Cage system. And he's jumping up. This is the E shape in the Cage system. Straight to the B minor. G, D. Same thing with the A, B minor. And he's using the same shapes, the same voicings in the Cage system over the D and the A. So the A, that's the A shape in the Cage system. That's the E shape in the cage system. Back to the B minor. So it's all simple once you know what the cage system is. So again, he's just splitting up the time, and you can do this whenever you want to, really. You can split up each chord. So you have a lot of options here. Once you understand these basic concepts, these basic theoretical ideas behind this stuff. To take it one step farther, you can add these little bit of hammer-ons and pull-offs without needing to know too much about the scales behind them. So over the D, let's take a closer look. I'll shift my fingers here, add a little. It's just these small little flare type of movements that are not necessary, but just gives it that extra flavor, just a little extra color, you know what I mean? Whoops. So you can use different voicings in different ways. Try to find these little hammer-ons and pull-offs. They're usually built in to the same area. John is great to copy and learn this kind of stuff. Waiting on the World to Change, Heart of Life, Slow Dancing, Find Another You. All great songs that he does these little strat sounding flare, hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides. Just bouncing around these shapes. You learn the cage system, and then you can literally kind of solo with those shapes and just picking and choosing notes. So all those notes that I just played were just using the chord tones of each chord. No scales. Just literally out of the triads of those chords. And if I'm talking over your head, don't worry about it. I'm just kind of tossing ideas at you and seeing if hopefully they land. I don't know. The last thing I want to mention here is that technically I don't exactly agree with how John plays this song. Let me explain. I don't believe how he plays it is the most practical application of these chords in the voicings. I do think it sounds pretty good, obviously, but I just don't think it's the easiest to play. He uses literally the whole fretboard to play the song. We're up at the 12th fret. We're stretching notes up from the 12th fret all the way down to the open position. I don't think it's very ergonomic. I don't know. So we just brought ourselves all the way down and then all the way up. Personally, what I find a little more practical is to try to play a whole verse or chorus in the same position. So bringing the whole song down into the first position, like I mentioned before, that makes sense. Keeping it all the way down here would be easier. But you can just do that with any position if you know the cage system. And you can play the whole song right here between these frets, between like frets 9 and 12. Or you could try it somewhere between 5 and 7. that's like literally the opposite of what I think is good. Now, I'm kind of exaggerating how you could play the song, but you see what I'm getting at? Like, I personally want to keep my voicings in the same position. Just makes a little more sense that way to me. So I hope this was a helpful overview of Waiting on the World to Change, how to play it, and how to think about it. Now, this is really how I try to think about every song I play. I'm always thinking about my options. How can I make it easier? How could I change things and play it in a way that is more makes sense to me, my style, my playing? Just get yourself thinking more. Think about your options. Think about how to get those options. So if you got any questions, drop them in the comments or DM me on Instagram, and I'll do my best to answer them. And let me know if you want to request any other breakdowns or deep dives of these songs that you're interested in to get into the mentality of the song, and not just a structured tutorial that's kind of rigid on how to play it. I want to be able to explain your options, how to think about these songs to really grow as a musician. All right?